why
Happy
I
Friday,
have my
guys.
Southern
I
Miss
hope that you're
Residence
having
Life
a
shirt
wonderful
on
Friday.
today. I got a question from one of my high school clients actually who wanted to learn a little bit more about my experience in residence life and what type of student leaders I looked for when I hired a resident assistant or a community assistant or even sometime my conference assistants within my department. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of insight into what I look for when I'm hiring a student leader in residence life. So here's a little bit of a caveat, guys. These are things that I looked for. So it's really important that if you are interested in being in residence life, you pay attention to your campus and make sure that these actually fit into what your campus is looking for as well. So the first thing I looked for is I wanted someone who actually wanted to serve. I believe in servant leadership. When I hired student leaders, it was about making sure that they understand that they are about giving back and helping others. As a first generation college student, I would be so excited for you to work in residence life because you have such a unique story for who you are, why you're in college, and what you hope to accomplish as that person in your family who's about to be a college graduate. And you can support so many, so you have something that is very unique about what you do. Another thing I looked for is what type of involvement has the student had on campus. Now, I've worked at a couple of different residence life departments at different universities, and the criteria for being a resident assistant or a sophomore advisor or a desk assistant was a little bit different. For one of my campuses, only residents could apply to be resident assistants. So that means you had to live on campus for at least a year in order to even apply to be a resident assistant. And this is because that particular department wanted to make sure students had the experience. They understood firsthand what it was like to live on campus, and you would be able to recall and give first-person accounts to those students that you're now going to be in charge of. However, at another university, I actually decided I wanted to open it up to some commuter students. I knew that a lot of the students that I was working with who were first generation college students couldn't actually afford to live on campus. And I wanted to open up the opportunity for them because they also had some great things that they could give. So find out, first of all, who is even allowed to apply. What's the criteria for working in the residence life department? Another thing that I've always looked for when I'm hiring students is what type of student leadership do you have? Are you working on campus? Are you volunteering in the community? How are you impacting our campus? And how will you bring that impact into the residence halls? That's such a big thing because we want to hear what is it that you can do to make the residence halls even better, even brighter, and leave that as your legacy, your mark, whatever you call it, but a way to make sure that you're impacting lives on a campus. And kind of the final thing that I look for in students is someone who is really passionate about seeing other people grow. In residence life, again, we are here to serve and to be able to make sure residents are comfortable, residents are growing, residents are learning and having a great time with living that full campus experience by being an on-campus resident. And to look for a student leader who is passionate about seeing someone be excited about being a student, being there for them in the times when they're challenged, as well as being there for them in the success times, celebrating their birthdays and celebrating with them when they get an A on that test that they've been studying weeks and weeks for. As a potential student leader in residence life, Res Life is an amazing, amazing department to work in. You learn so much that you can take with you any and everywhere. Just this past week, I had an opportunity to have lunch with one of my former RAs, and she was telling me about how she brings in her residence life experience to her job on a daily basis. How she uses the emergency management that we learned and the one-on-ones that we did in her job and how she teaches her supervisor to do the same. So how awesome is that for those who are in residence life and those of you first generation college students who want to be in residence life, to have this opportunity to really learn something that you'll be able to take with you pretty much for the rest of your life. Your homework for this week is to go onto your residence life webpage at your university, and if they are about to have their selection or they're looking for desk assistants, conference assistants, any type of student leaders, find out what they're looking for. Pay attention to that mission, pay attention to the department information that's important to them, the highlights, what's going on. Make sure that if you're ready to jump into residence life, you have the history, knowledge, and the passion to make sure that you'd be one great student leader. So that's it. You are amazingly beautiful and wonderfully made, and you first gen belong. Happy Friday. Take care. Bye.